Topic is apartheid in South Africa. And my guest is Kwame of the Afro-American Cultural Alliance. And let me welcome you to Black Pulse, Kwame.
Good to be here again.
One of the things that we've talked about in terms of apartheid is the impact that apartheid has upon American policy. And perhaps you could say something about the various kinds of policies that we've followed by beginning with the so-called Sullivan principles, if you will, and perhaps give us some kind of development in terms of our policies towards South Africa.
Let's go back a little before that. The group that I represent, the African American Cultural Alliance, Brother Haney, got involved with this whole issue back in '85. We looked at all of the merchandise that we bought as U.S. consumers that impacted and supported apartheid. And we looked around Nashville and we found out that there were several jewelry stores selling the gold coin from South Africa called the Krugerrand. And we began to develop strategies to sever that link. And we had several protests at one of the largest banks here called Commerce Union Bank. They stopped selling the gold coin.
Now this is the early protest against
85,
apartheid in South Africa.
And the point of that is that most of our role in terms of activists has to be to sever the link, the economic link that sustains the Nazi-like regime in South Africa. Okay, we can't go there and fight for the brothers. We can't go there and make policy, but we can make sure that our dollars don't support South Africa. Another job we took on was to look at the catalog dealers that dealt in gold from South Africa. And probably our gold star as an organization was to get the largest catalog dealer in the country, Serge Merchandise, to discontinue selling the gold coin called the Krugerrand. And then we moved from that into other techniques of developing communication on the issue of South Africa by bringing in speakers from the ANC and other South African activists here to Nashville. Now, all that relates to the idea of the Sullivan principle in terms of that Sullivan himself, Leon Sullivan, the Dr. Reverend Sullivan, decided 10 years ago that he would put together what he thought were some principled positions that U.S. corporations would take who were operating in South Africa. And they were primarily nothing more than equal opportunity.
Well, when you talk about corporations operating in South Africa, could you give us some example or some idea as to the workforce and the nature of this operation?
Well, there used to be over 300 U.S. firms in South Africa before the whole protest movement started. And these firms weren't there because they particularly wanted to help South Africans as a whole. Every firm, every capitalist firm wants to help its stockholders, the people who work in the company. No company works for the benefit of the workers or for the community. They work for the benefit of the company. So the companies operating in South Africa were no different. They went there to make money. They went there because they could make a lot of money, as a matter of fact. More money there than probably anywhere else on the globe. So their only interest in being there is to make money. The only interest in staying there is to make money. So Leon Sullivan thought that because they were from the U.S. and there was some political pressure that his prominence in the political sphere would cause them to, in some way, support the rightful protest, the rightful pressure of the brothers at home in South Africa to correct apartheid, which was a fallacious idea because it never happened. But he at least put forth several principles on the companies to follow. And they all signed up, the U.S. companies over there, not all of them, most of them signed up to follow the Sullivan principles in '77. As time went on, he had to do what he called amplify. He had to improve, he had to categorize how his principles were going to be measured, monitored on each company.
All of this with the idea of making American corporations in South Africa much more responsive to the whole idea of apartheid.
The whole funny thing is, bro, is how you going to make U.S. corporations in South Africa do right when they don't do right here? You know what I mean? But anyway, I give the brother credit. He did try. He put all these stipulations on the various corporations. They had to have fair employment practices in writing. They had to dismantle the separate eating facilities and separate bathroom facilities. They had to develop training programs to make sure that the brothers who started on the bottom had some way of advancing through the ranks. They had to do some serious recruiting of people coming in as managers, as technicians, as clerical, as supervisory people. So they had to show Sullivan that they were going to, in fact, do this. And they had to then also pledge in some ambiguous way to assist in the housing of their workers outside the plant. As I said, he went through several improvements and several amplifications of his principles from 77 through 87, all right?
No, but now in
he
reality,
abandoned the whole thing in 87 because he realized that nothing was going to work.
Now, in reality, some corporations did withdraw from South Africa. Did
Well,
not, more than 100.
About 134 have withdrawn.
Now, why did those?
But we're not sure if they really withdrawn. In fact, well, not they, because the Japanese have picked up a lot of the U.S. corporate, you know,
well,
factories,
General Motors,
plants,
IBM, Playtex, several other companies. They've cut out all of their operations in South Africa. Is that?
Yeah, but see, with the world international companies and these multinational companies, it gets like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, who owns what and when and where and how. So probably we suspect, that, and we've got some reason to believe, a lot of the withdrawals are withdrawals of changing the name. Like I work for Textron, used to be called AFCO. It's the same company, you just change the name, you know. So we suspect that a lot of the withdrawals, in fact, are not withdrawals. Certainly companies like Shell and Mobil have taken their thumb and put it in their nose at Sullivan, at Mandela, at the UN, at everybody that believes that the world should be ruled by people. They've said, we ain't getting out of here, we love it, we're making lots of money, we ain't going nowhere.
Okay, given that perspective, what do you see as the ultimate solution to what is going on in South Africa, Kwame?
Total liberation of our folks in South Africa. Now that's a big word. How does it happen? How does it start? First of all, I think we as African Americans need to stop buying gold. If you're going to get married, you need to stop putting them diamonds on your fingers, which come out of South Africa. We need to force all the ministers that are African American or whatever color, say we're not going to marry anybody that's got on a diamond. Now that would have a major impact. Forget the sanctions, forget the trade bills, forget the Southern. Stop getting married and putting gold and diamond on your finger, on your neck, and you have a major impact on South Africa. And there's no way you can prove to me that sanctions and stopping gold and diamond money is going to help hurt brothers back home, see? Because it's the same story they told us a long time ago during the Civil Rights days, you know. We will make a change, but it's going to hurt y'all. How in the world can you hurt brothers over there that's been going through for 100 years of absolute terror?
Very good. And let me thank you for bringing that information to us today, Kwame. And we'll be back with you following this commercial break.